Okay, so the first thing I just want to go over is just the sympathetic pathway, starting from the interomediolateral cell column, right? So it's called this because it's intero, right? And then medial, because it's in between these 2 points, it's middle. And then lateral, right? Because it's lateral to the body over here. And so it comes from here, goes down, and this is the ventral root, right? To orient yourself. So this is the front of your body, and this is the back. So this is the ventral root, and this is the dorsal root. So it comes down here from the interomediolateral cell column, down the ventral root, down here through the white ramus communicans, right? And then it goes, and this entire structure is called the sympathetic trunk, and its synapses here. So the entire sympathetic preganglionic fiber comes down here through the white ramus communicans and synapses in the sympathetic trunk. Then the postganglionic bodies are here, right? And the preganglionic cell bodies are in the nucleus over here, in the spinal cord over here, right? So the postganglionic bodies are in the sympathetic trunk, and they go through the gray ramus communicans, and they come out, and they can go to the ventral primary rami, right? Or they can take the route and go to the dorsal primary rami, right? Because, for example, you have sweat glands on your back, right? So that would end up going down here, or it could go to the front of your body through the ventral primary rami or the dorsal primary rami. So remember that for the rami just means branch, okay? And so a lot of this stuff is an analogy to a tree, right? So because we have root, so we have the root of the tree, we have branches of the tree, and then we have the trunk of the tree, right? Sympathetic trunk. And so this trunk can extend almost kind of like an elevator, and these fibers can ride it like an elevator. And I'll show you in the next example. But this pathway, the sympathetic pathway, is only available through the spinal cord levels of T1 to L2. Now I say that because the spinal cord levels and the vertebral levels are actually different, right? So the spinal cord actually ends right here, but that's not where the vertebral level ends, right? So we know that the vertebral level and the spinal level have 4 parts, right? Cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and sacral regions. Well, the sacral part of the spinal cord level actually ends at the vertebral level of L2. Okay, so I hope I didn't confuse you, but at L2 of the vertebral level, right, there's more of the vertebral level all the way to the tailbone, but at the end, right, at the end of L2 is actually where the spinal cord ends. Okay, so that's an important thing to keep in mind. And so this is another type of pathway the sympathetic fibers can take. So you go from the interomediolateral cell column, you go down the ventral root, you go down here through the white ramus communicans, and then what you can do is use the sympathetic trunk as an elevator, and you'll learn about this when you go to the sympathetic fibers from T1, right? They can access your head and neck through this sympathetic trunk and actually go up all the way to the superior cervical ganglion, and then access, for example, your eye, the superior tarsal muscle, in that sympathetic path. But you'll learn about that later. But the biggest concept to take away is that can go through the white ramus communicans and use the sympathetic trunk as an elevator. So it can go down, for example, and then go to a lower spinal level, or it can go up to a higher spinal level. Okay, so the final pathway is this. So you can have your sympathetic fibers from T1 to L2 in your interomediolateral cell column. It'll go down the ventral root and then go through the white ramus communicans, right? This is your sympathetic trunk. It can go through it without synapsing and actually synapse in a thing called the collateral ganglion, and you'll learn about that later. I just want to show you the pathways first and not get too worried about the details. So it'll skip the sympathetic trunk and go synapse in the collateral ganglion. And then another path they can take is come from the intermediolateral cell column, go through here, go through the white ramus communicans, and then go through this. Oh, I forgot to mention, this nerve right here coming off the sympathetic trunk is called either the thoracic or lumbar splenic nerve, right? It can use these nerves to go to these collateral ganglions, or it can take the pathway and go into the thoracic or lumbar splenic nerve, and then go out and directly innervate the adrenal medulla. So I hope that helped, and thanks for watching.